You cannot trade this week unless you know exactly what is going on with this week's economic news calendar. So let's review this together. So you should know by now that news is what injects volatility and energy into the marketplace. It's what allows price to move. So that's why I want to look at this first thing before we approach every new week. Before we even open up any charts, any price action, look at the economic news calendar. It is your roadmap. You can use forexfactory.com. This is what I use. So the economic news calendar tells us when volatility will be injected into the market, as well as when there's going to be a lack of volatility. And this is really important because we want to align ourselves with the volatility. We actually want to be focusing on trading these high impact news days, not avoiding them like you may have heard out there. Now, the days you want to be really cautious on are those bank holidays. You're going to see a huge lack of volatility on those. None of that this week. Last week we had Thanksgiving. Look at the price action then. It was horrible, untradeable. Also want to be very careful around breakthrough news events like CPI, NFP, FOMC. The days and sessions leading up to these events are often lower probability to trade. So it's super important that we look at this calendar to understand our roadmap for the week, where we want to focus on, where we may want to take a step back and consider not trading. Now, taking a look at this week, it's looking excellent because we have no big three news event we need to worry about. There's no bank holidays. We just have pretty standard high impact news events every single day of the week, except on Tuesday. Now, the way I'm going to approach this week is very standard over here. On Monday, I'm going to be waiting for the 9:30 equities open, seeing if that manipulates. If that already manipulates into some sort of higher time frame PD array, expect the 10 a.m. news to be a distribution. If 9:30 doesn't do anything, 10 a.m. might just create that manipulation, and then we can play that distribution after 10 a.m. So just really observe what 9:30 a.m. does. Same game plan for Tuesday, waiting for the 9:30 equities open. Since there is no high impact news event, that 9:30 equities open will serve as the volatility driver. So we want to wait for that. On Wednesday, we have the 8:15 a.m. news. It really doesn't do much, typically, this ADP 8:15 a.m. red folder news. So same thing on Monday and Tuesday, waiting for the 9:30 open, seeing if 9:30 manipulates, or if it's a dud, doesn't do anything, expect 10 a.m. to do the manipulation. On Thursday, we have 8:30 a.m. red folder news. Now over here, if that 8:30 a.m. red folder news actually creates some manipulation and we see that lower time frame reversal, the lower time frame displacement showing we want to move now and distribute higher prior to 9:30, I will consider trading before the 9:30 open and expecting the 9:30 open to be distribution higher off of that 8:30 manipulation. But again, we must observe and see what happens. Always reacting and adapting. And then on Friday, we have 10 a.m. news, the same exact protocol I outlined on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, just to clarify, I trade ES and the NASDAQ, so that's what I'm referring to when I'm outlining my game plan for this calendar and this week. Hopefully you found that insightful. Follow for more. See you on next week's breakdown.